And now we've got Kieron in Australia. How are you, Kieron?
Hi, I'm all right. Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
I'm just basically wanting to talk briefly about what it's like to be an atheist in Australia, and then go on to a problem that's happening in our government.
Okay.
So, basically, it's pretty good being an atheist in Australia, you know? We don't really have any religious pressures on us that much. Even, I actually went to a religious school, but even there was no pressure. It's actually reached the point where I get more surprised if I talk to a religious person, find a religious person, than if I find an atheist.
Well, you don't hang around Ken Ham all that much, I guess. He's too busy over here.
Yeah.
No. Oh, lovely. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to hang around with anyone like that anyway, by the sounds of it. Anyway, but the problem we've got at the moment is gay marriage just cannot get through our government at all. Essentially, one side of the government is allowing conscience vote, which means that anyone can vote for it, and the other side isn't. And despite the fact that most of Australia is either not caring about the issue or atheist, and the government is holding it back.
What kind of justifications do they give for that if most people are atheists?
All right. Well, there's about 23% of the atheists, and the rest, most Christians don't have any problem with same-sex marriage.
Right.
However, what our leader, Tony Abbott, has said is, I am a traditionalist on this. From time to time, immemorial in every culture that's been known, marriage or that of kind, solemnized relationship has been between a man and a woman. So basically he's just harking back to tradition.
Yeah, which is not necessarily true. I mean, there was plenty of history when it was like one man, a bunch of wives.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I mean, you know, tradition really depends on how far back you want to go.
Exactly, and if you want to think about biblical tradition, it's pretty easy to get a girl in the Bible's laws.
Right, yeah.
You know,
just capture her in a war and then she's yours.
But yes, basically the problem is that one side of government is allowing a conscience vote.
What do you mean by conscience vote exactly?
Basically, a conscience vote means that every minister can vote their own way. So one side of government, Labor, which is the more left-hand side of government, can vote whichever way they want. But the right-hand side of government, which is the coalition, they're not allowed to vote the way they want.
Oh, I see.
So they've got to vote the way the party goes.
So in other words, anyone who's affiliated with the rightist party is forced by their leader or whatever they have there to vote against gay marriage, even if they...
Exactly.
Okay.
Wow.
It's really a pain.
Maybe the leftist party ought to learn something from that if the rightist party can pull that off. I mean, maybe the leader ought to consider whipping them into shape somehow.
Yeah, forcing them to accept it.
Yeah.
The thing is, the current leader is actually a new leader because we just had a change of government.
Yeah.
Kevin Rudd, who was our Prime Minister after a big, multiple backstabs. That's a really long story. Our Prime Minister's been backstabbed out multiple times. Anyway, the point about him is he had a conversion in that he started to accept it, as in he accepted gay marriage, but then he was voted out.
And this doesn't ever go up to a popular vote among the electorate. It always just gets stuck in this high echelon group of representatives.
I think it's been like estimated that about 60 to 70% of Australians are pro-gay marriage.
Okay.
But the only people voting on it are the government. In fact, it did pass in the ACT, which is the Australian Capital Territory. So gay marriage is legal there. But the first response by Tony Abbott was to make a high court challenge of the bill so it would get cancelled.
And is that ongoing, or did that already happen? I mean,
Apparently they're sitting the dispute on the 3rd of December.
okay.
And marriages have been available to happen since the 8th of November. Right. So they've got a month to get there.
You know, all I can really say is that over here in the United States, getting gay marriage accepted within individual states has been a long uphill battle, and one by one, I think the states are falling. You know, and falling in a terrifying sense if you're a fundamentalist. But the popular opinion really is with it a lot more. So I would just, you know, I would keep promoting the issue. And I don't know what else to say about it. Jen might know.
Well, and I understand in Australia, if I understand this correctly, marriage is decided on a national level. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. It's the Marriage Act.
Okay.
And that's what they're trying to change.
Okay, so it's, I mean, that's a difference versus here in the States, where each state decides, you know, what the qualifications for marriage are, who gets a marriage license. So, yeah, I mean.
But then again, Australia is probably about as big as one of our bigger states.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
22 million people, I think we have.
Yeah, that seems. I have to look up how big Texas is, but go on.
Yeah, I think that's about this.
Texas is 313. Wait, no, that's the United States.
No, that's we're.
Excuse me.
26.
Texas is 26 million. California is 38.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's actually pretty scary when you think about it.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what to say other than history is not on their side. On this, and the more people who get married around the world, and the longer it takes for the sky to fall, you know, the more obvious it will be that this is not a threat to anybody, and that they should just, you know, back off and let people get married.
You know, there's this graph that I just love to show people, which shows that when you break down support of gay marriage, you know, it's generally against in the older crowd, generally kind of divided as you get a little younger. And among people like 18 to 30, it's like overwhelmingly, even in the very red states, it's mostly pro-gay marriage. And what's going to happen is that the people in those upper ages are going to start dying off, and the people in those younger ages in about 20 years are going to be the ones getting elected into office. They're fighting against the tide of history, like Jen said. It's going to happen sooner or later, but you know, it might be delayed a number of decades, and that is bad news for people who would like to get all the benefits of marriage now. But it's going to happen, I think.
There has been one issue of increasing intolerance in Australia, though.
What's that?
That's that ever since the terrorist attacks, there's been a lot of anti-Muslim racism around.
Yeah.
And I find that just as disturbing as the other side. Because, you know, you either hate all religions or like all religions.
Well, I mean, to be clear, it's perfectly reasonable to hate terrorists, and it's perfectly reasonable to loudly criticize the tenets of Islam and the you know, and the things that fundamentalist Muslims do in the name of Islam.
Certainly, but we're talking about mass fear.
Yeah, I mean,
like everyone.
People still have the right to have free belief in their religion. And if you're going to allow Christianity, you're also going to allow Muslims who don't commit crimes to do what they want.
Yeah. I'm just happy that Australia doesn't have a deep south.
Right. Well, from the sound of it, they do have some equivalent.
Yeah.
But
the right-hand side of government, the coalition. However, there is one more thing I'd like to mention.
I think we need to move on to another caller.
Okay. It's just really quick, though. It's just that we do have some openly gay and homosexual members of Parliament.
Okay, good.
Good.
Yeah.
That's kind of better than we're doing. Well, I don't know. We got Barney Frank. Anyone else?
He's not in
Oh,
Congress
no,
anymore.
he's out now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tammy Baldwin.
We get a few people occasionally. Could do better.
Yeah.
Okay. See ya.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah.